Hey everybody, JC here with another TNI toy review. And today's review is in association with JediInsider.com, your #1 news source for everything Star Wars. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Star Wars The Last Jedi Elite Praetorian. I don't know if it's Praetorian. I guess we'll find out when the movie comes out. But Praetorian Guard. This figure comes packaged in the same style we've been seeing with all the Black Series figures. You've got the black box up at the top. You've got the Black Series logo. The figure is clearly displayed in the window box. Down below you've got the name of the character and an image. On the side you've got that red border and it tells us this is figure number 50 in the series. And then on the back of the packaging we have a brief bio in multiple languages. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the Elite Guard outside the packaging along with the other contents. Now the only accessory this figure comes with is this long blade, and you've got the metallic silver on the blade portion, and I think the overall sculpting is pretty good. The handle has got red wrappings and you've got some sculpting detail on those wrappings, some ridges sculpted in there, and you also have some ridges sculpted on the silver portions down here on the handle as well. So overall pretty nice detailing. It's a pretty sturdy plastic and comes out of the packaging, at least mine did, fairly straight. And he'll hold this bladed weapon in either hand, the left or the right hand. Now you really can't get him in any kind of good two-handed poses with this weapon because of the way the articulation is on the arms, which I'll go over later in the video. So for the figure itself, I like the overall look of it, and the sculpting detail is pretty nice. Now there's multiple versions of this character. I'll actually be looking at the Elite Guard that comes in the Black Series 4-pack, which is a GameStop exclusive. Also think it's available at Barnes & Noble. And that one's a little bit different. It has a different head sculpt and actually has a soft goods for this lower piece on the figure as opposed to this leather kind of vinyl material. And also has a different weapon. And then there's also the Amazon exclusive version, but this one is definitely different from the box set version. Again, it's got that different helmet, and then it's got this leather piece for these sections that come down over the legs, the skirt type piece, which is done with that vinyl material as opposed to soft goods. And I think I probably kind of prefer the soft goods look on the figure, but this isn't too bad. The look's not bad, but this limits some of the movement. In fact, the entire posability on this figure is pretty weak, unfortunately, which again I'll go over when we get to articulation. But I do like the ridges sculpted on the helmet here. I think that looks pretty good. And then I like how they've sculpted the armor pieces down the arm. I think it looks good. Unfortunately, again, it does limit drastically the arm movement. And he's also got these shoulder pads, which are actually removable. They just plug in with little pegs. So when you start moving the arms around, those will have a tendency to kind of pop off. So just be wary of that. And you can, like I said, you can take them off if you want. So that definitely gives you a little better arm movement with the shoulders there if you remove those. And then he's got a little like rank insignia here. I don't know if it's the same on all of them, but he's got this little black dot here, and then you've got some nice sculpting detail on the chest plate here. And I like the red. All the red matches pretty nicely on the figure. So you've got this kind of glossy red throughout, and then you've got a little more matted red here around the neck. And then the skirt pieces are more of a matted color. So like the skirt pieces and the area around his neck actually match really nicely. And then the rest of the glossy armor all looks pretty much the same, which is nice. Even on the boots here, you've got some nice sculpting detail, and the red matches nicely with the upper body. And then he's just wearing these black type pants underneath, which has some sculpting detail on it. So this figure stands just a hair under 6 1/4 inches tall. Here's a comparison with what I guess is his predecessor, the Emperor Royal Guard. Here's a comparison with Captain Phasma and a First Order Stormtrooper. And then while I don't have a Supreme Leader Snoke figure yet to give you a comparison with that one, here's the Force Awakens Unmasked Kylo Ren figure and the Last Jedi Rey figure. Okay, so for articulation, this is definitely where the figure kind of lacks. So for the head, you can turn the head to the left and the right. You actually get good head movement with this one. He can look down pretty good, and he can look up pretty good as well. And you can pivot the head a little bit to the left and the right. So good head movement. Now with the shoulders, as I mentioned before, he has these shoulder pads, so you can still get the arms out pretty good, and it doesn't pop the shoulder pads off too much. It lifts them up a little bit, but doesn't actually pop them off. But when you try and rotate that shoulder, if you rotate it all the way around, it's definitely going to pop off those shoulder pads. So again, just be wary of that, and it does limit some of that movement. Now he doesn't seem to have a true bicep swivel. He does have a rotation, looks like it's right above the hinge joint on the elbow, so you do get a rotation there. I would call it more of an elbow rotation than a bicep rotation. And then I believe he's got a single hinged elbow, though you really can't bend the elbow at all because of these armor pieces. They come down over the hinge joint there. So it would have been nice if maybe they made it so you could kind of push these armor pieces back so that it would reveal the hinge joint, and then you could bend the elbow more. As it is, that's about as much as you can bend it. So definitely that limits you getting him in any kind of decent fighting poses. He does have rotation at the wrist, and then with the hinges on the wrist, on this one, on the left hand, you've got the hinges on the top and the bottom here, so you get that up and down movement with the hand, even though again you don't get a whole lot of movement because these armor pieces come over the joint. And then with the right hand, the hinges are on the top here and the bottom here, so you get that normal up and down movement with the hand on the right. He has a midsection joint, so he's got rotation there at the midsection. You can pivot to the left and the right good there at the midsection, and he can crunch forward about that much, and he can crunch back or look back pretty good there at the midsection. Then with the legs are attached with ball joints. Now with these skirt pieces, he can only do the splits about that much. You can get the leg forward pretty good because you have the split between the skirt pieces, and then you can do the leg back about that much. He does have a thigh swivel there, and then he's got a double jointed knee, so good bending there at the knee. And then he does have hinges on the feet, so good up and down movement, and he does have ankle pivot. And 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I think this is a pretty nice looking figure, but unfortunately it is very limited in the articulation department. Don't expect to get him in some really good fighting poses. If you want him just to sit there and guard your Supreme Leader Snoke, then he should work pretty well for that. But again, don't expect to get him in very good fighting poses because of the limited arm articulation. Now, I am curious to know if in the movie these guys actually go into action and do some fighting, or if they basically just stand around like we always saw with the Emperor Royal Guards. I've heard rumors that these guys are supposed to be the Knights of Ren or something like that. I don't know if there's any basis for those rumors or if that's just pure fan speculation. But again, I'm definitely interested to see how much of a role these guys have in the movie. Now, this figure is available now. We'll have a full image gallery up at JediInsider.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, I'll catch you later.